What was the craziest reason a teacher at your school got fired? In high school, our teacher for physical education took us canoeing. Instead of checking the weather, he brought 15 freshmen into the channel our school was on. A severe thunderstorm hit, and our teacher paddled safely back to school, leaving us teens in the water. We tied our canoes together and rowed back to school, but we were drenched and super late. Our teacher was just standing on the dock, not a care in the world. He got fired like 2 days later. Something like this happened in my country. The outcome was just a bit worse. Some of the students got permanent brain damage because of how long they were exposed to the ice-cold water. Our high school art teacher got fired after someone found an old YouTube video of him painting with his ass cheeks. We held a protest to try to keep him around, but they fired him anyway. Pablo Picasso? She posted nudes on her public Facebook profile. Can I get the link to her profile? A friend asked. Not sure if it was crazy or dumb, but when I was in 3rd grade, my teacher got fired for selling us Pokemon cards she had confiscated from other classes during recess. She told us we could buy the cards for about 25 cents, but we couldn't have them out during school hours. She was involved in a murder case. No, she didn't kill anyone. She was just one of the last people seen with the victim, who was also her best friend. News reporters kept showing up at my school to get any words they could from my teacher. And as you can imagine, it became a huge distraction for the students. It was sad. The case became pretty famous in my home state, and a law was even created in the victim's name. Edit. The law required bouncers at bars and clubs to be more thoroughly checked for any past criminal activity. My teacher's friend was murdered by a bouncer who was supposed to be helping her into a taxi after the bar closed. The bar owner didn't know that the bouncer had been a felon. I didn't really want to add too many details out of respect for my teacher. A history teacher I had in high school often gave us random documentary movie days, during which she would just sit in the back at her desk drinking tea. The year after I graduated, she had a movie day, and when the film ended, she didn't get up or do anything. She just sat there with her eyes closed. Fearing the worst, some students went to the office and brought an administrator, who discovered she had passed out drunk. They later found bottles in her desk. My kindergarten teacher picked me up by the neck and tossed me across the room. She wasn't actually fired, just not allowed to teach kindergarten again. Instead, she was moved to 2nd grade. She ended up being my teacher that year too. In her defense, odds are pretty good that I had it coming. A student teacher who was coaching cheer gave a girl pain meds without a prescription or parental permission. She got fired. I never heard if she managed to get a teaching license after that. Edit. Just to clarify, giving meds is usually not allowed because it's a liability issue. Students are, of course, allowed to bring their own pain meds, either over the counter or prescribed to them, and take them, but the school itself can't dispense them. The real issue here is that the pain meds were not over the counter and were prescribed to the student teacher, not the cheerleader. It's pretty uncool and dangerous to give a kid opioids without permission. I remember a day when I got my braces tightened and asked a friend for a Tylenol. I guess my science teacher overheard because he gave me one, but he made me promise not to tell anyone. I don't know what would have happened if I had told someone that my science teacher gave me a pill. He threw pencils at students, and one day he even threw a chair at a girl who annoyed him. He clearly had serious anger management issues. Later, they discovered highly inappropriate video materials on his school computer involving kids. Rumor had it that he had also been grooming one of the student aides. I haven't heard anything about him since the year he disappeared. Our teacher was a chronic liar and lied about having a master's degree and other qualifications. Funny thing is, she actually did have a relevant degree that would have gotten her the job. Other lies included dating Brad Pitt, being an ex-gang member, and even being a multimillionaire, but just enjoying teaching. In high school, a friend and I did some research and discovered that the principal's degree was issued by a university that didn't exist. The address we were able to find was nothing but a mailbox. As far as I know, that principal is still working. Back when I was in high school, I had a history teacher who looked like Santa Claus, and for the most part was a cool and funny dude. He made jokes most of the class and kept it pretty entertaining while still being informative. Well, one day there was this tall, curly-haired 9th grade kid who was being loud and obnoxious in the hall, and so Santa teacher went out and asked him to stop as the kid was disrupting his class. Kid didn't listen, so he stepped out of the class and asked him nicely to stop talking so loud in the hallway. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the kid said to him, but whatever it was caused my teacher to lose it, and punched the kid right in the eye and held him against the locker like the stereotypical bully does to the nerd in TV shows and movies. Kid ended up with a black eye and broken nose, and my history teacher was soon fired after that. Turns out my teacher had a bit of a mean streak that popped up every blue moon. Apparently, he almost fought a bus driver who was about to leave a student who was running late from their last class. On a Friday night, a gym teacher and girls basketball coach deliberately threw a bong out of the passenger side window of his pickup truck. He was in the passenger seat, his wife was driving, causing it to smash on the hood of an on-duty sheriff's car, a marked Crown Victoria. He intended it to hit the cop car. He got out and tried to confront the officer, but was quickly subdued and tased. I never saw him again after that. He used to be a cool guy. A math teacher got into a fist fight with the art teacher because the math teacher stopped the students who were doing art from leaving his class to take their state exam. The exam was the Junior Cert Art Practical. This happened in Ireland. Edited. The teachers' union intervened and he got his job back. He had a bag of female students' hair in his desk. I still don't know what to make of it. He was one of the best and most well-liked teachers and coaches. I spent a lot of time with him due to sports, as did many of my friends and classmates. And he was never inappropriate. Not once. I've never spoken to anyone who has anything but positive memories of him. The police knocked on the door of our French teacher's house, and he answered completely naked, holding a plastic trumpet, high on either crack or meth, and proclaiming that he was Jesus. Somehow, he evaded them and ran through the neighborhood, pretending to play the trumpet, still naked, and still claiming to be Jesus. They finally tackled him and used pepper spray, at which point he shouted, "Jesus is blind!" He got arrested that evening. The history teacher got fired for sleeping with our music teacher in one of the classrooms. Don't blame him, we all had a crush on her. She was a lesbian. Back in 2003, my high school psychology teacher got fired for not being straight. Some parents freaked out and made a big deal of it. I don't remember all the details, but I know there was a huge protest by the students to reinstate her, and I want to say they offered, but she declined to come back. I wasn't in any of his classes, but there was a teacher at my high school who just didn't show up one day. He was relatively young and healthy, so they didn't think he died or anything, but for a little while people were worried something had happened to him. Then it turned out he'd left his wife and children to run away with a 17-year-old girl who was one of his students. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him after that, but presumably he wasn't allowed to return to work. There was this amazing teacher that everybody loved. We loved the way he taught and interacted with everyone. One day, one of his classes got a little out of hand and he got frustrated. A girl came up to him to ask something, and he grabbed her ponytail and dragged her back to her desk. He was gone for a month. He returned and didn't get fired. I guess he got off pretty easy. We were all okay with it because he was a great teacher and he was extremely sorry. Edit. I forgot to mention that I wasn't in the period when this happened, so I only heard the stories that the entire grade passed around. Maybe the stories were a little exaggerated. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Share your crazy school experiences below and stay tuned for the next video.